everyone. My name is Nina Rivers, and thank you so much for this opportunity to present today. I'm an anthropologist and part of an MSP community of practice called the Algoa Bay MSP project, which is piloting the first MSP in South Africa. The team is headed by a number of research chairs, but I work most closely with Dr. Bernadette and Professor Amanda Lombard, who gave a talk on Monday about MSP in South Africa. Sorry, I'm just having problems here. Sorry. I'm not able to move. Okay. Can you see the next slide? Andre?
Yes. It's
yep. Okay. Okay. Sorry. So this is our team. Just the people that I work closely with, transdisciplinary, and then non-academics across the Bay as well. So just to spatially orient you, here's a map of Algoa Bay and the city of Port Elizabeth. And to give you a brief orientation to the ocean governance context in South Africa. On paper, South Africa is one of the most comprehensive and progressive constitutions in the world, but on the ground, ocean governance is largely characterized by a top-down approach, uncoordinated legislation, undercapacitated sectoral management, a gap between science and policy, a lack of monitoring and compliance, and then a lack of effective stakeholder engagement that has largely been tick box exercises and has raised expectations and failed to deliver on promises. So as a result, we really have stakeholders that have little faith in government structures, and people are tired of participatory processes that are not inclusive or transparent. But then saying that we do, due to our apartheid history and because of some of the failures of government to respond to some sectors, we do have quite an active civil society sector that champions some of the primary ocean issues in the country. And then across recent MSP literature and yesterday and today, we heard a resounding call to include the social factors that mediate human behavior in ocean governance, which are usually sidelined. So as you can see from this slide, Algoa Bay is host to many different human uses, and therefore many different stakeholders that need to be included in the MSP. So although it's not groundbreaking, a stakeholder analysis is the first step towards involving the relevant people and to designing equitable and sustainable ocean governance plans. A stakeholder analysis is a methodology that can be used to identify individuals or groups that will either affect or be affected by initiatives like an MSP. It also categorizes stakeholders in order to prioritize them for a project, and it provides understanding and context to these stakeholders. So there are many different approaches one can use for stakeholder analysis, but the methodology generally follows two broad approaches, a top-down analytical categorization or bottom-up reconstructive method. So from the schematic above, you can see we've taken two approaches in the Algoa Bay. The first phase was instrumental and really sort of desktop, and then the second phase is going to be more normative, where stakeholders position and define themselves within the social ecological system. And then just very quickly, so our analysis, well, in order to initially categorize stakeholders, we used Mitchell et al.'s salience typology, where salience is understood as relevance, which is measured by three attributes: power, legitimacy, and urgency. So stakeholders are characterized according to how much power, legitimacy, and urgency they possess. As you can see, we have a lot of definitive and dependent stakeholders in Algoa Bay. I can't, because of time, I can't go into all of them, but definitive stakeholders have all three attributes. And as you can see, a lot of local, provincial, and national governments fall into this category. And then there's dependent stakeholders, and they have both legitimacy and urgency, but no power. So these stakeholders depend upon others for the power necessary to carry out their will. And the strength of this framework is really its ability to account for the dynamic nature of social actors as they transition from one category to another, as they maybe gain or lose power, or their claims on a management area become more or less urgent. So beyond that, you also need to work with stakeholders to understand how they identify and categorize themselves, which is really going to be phase 2 of our process. So then just to end quickly, space in place is still highly contested in South Africa due to our colonial and apartheid history. And because of that, it is really important that how we plan marine space is inclusive, transparent, and equal. And people want to be included, they want to give input, they want feedback on projects, and carrying out a stakeholder analysis is really just the first step towards successful and sustainable MSP. We are investigating currently creative and innovative ways to engage stakeholders in the particular South African context. And as we move into phase 2 of the MSP pilot project, future work will also be looking at ways to incorporate Indigenous and local knowledge systems into the MSP for Algoa Bay. Yeah, so thank you very much, and that is me.